Welcome back. Today I'm going to explain episodes 4, 5, and 6 of The Seraph of the End. Be ready for some spoilers are ahead. The 4th episode begins dramatically. A monster arrives in a town and people are running away to save their lives. Mika appears there and kills the monster. People are thanking him, and it is announced that this area will be governed by vampires who try to donate their blood for a living. An innocent girl comes to Mika and requests him to drink her blood since he saves the life of many. Well, Mika is turned into a vampire. Mika starts explaining a story that as soon as you ran away, a queen, Krulteeps, appeared there. Farid was headshot, but he was alive. Mika was not dead, but breathing hardly. Farid welcomed Krull and asked for her powers. Krull showed him by fighting that you are not fit enough. Krull asked Mika, if you want to live, drink my blood. Mika had no other option but to drink, and he was converted. On the other side, Yu collides with one of the heightened young men. Yu thinks that he does it on purpose and starts fighting with that man. It is poor for Yu that he receives a mark for the punch from that man. He joins Yoichi and pretends that he is hit by a telephone pole. Yoichi could not believe this all. Afterward, they meet Shinoa. She asks about their facial condition from Yu, but Yu gives the same old response. Anyhow, Shinoa takes them to the training center, where they are going to get the training. Yurin is monitoring the training. Yurin requests Yu and Yoichi to introduce themselves to the class. However, Yu does not feel comfortable, as he does not feel like making friends. He hates to get intermingled from the beginning. He yells at Yurin that he wants the best of demons to fight against vampires among the trainees. Yurin gets anguish and says that you better take your seat and attend the class. Yu looks for his seat and finds the same guy who he received a punch. Yu wants to sit there, but the other guy, Kimizuki, becomes adamant. He is not willing to lead the seat. It leads them towards fighting. Kimizuki moves to Yurin room and requests him to be given the best demon. Yurin answers it is better to train first, or else you would end up your life valueless. Yurin reminds Kimizuki how his sister was attacked by the vampires. He adds that if you want the best demon, train yourself first. Finally, the day arrives when all the students are evaluated for the best demon. The trainer announces to get paired up. All of them start pairing. Yu expects Yoichi joins him, but he is already taken by Shinoa. All of them are paired up. The only person left is Kimizuki. Yu has to pair up with him. The test begins and the puppets are released. The trainer gives Yu's pair -10 as they both become selfish to get an edge. Suddenly, Kimizuki is informed that his sister is in critical condition. Kimizuki does not care at first, but Yu feels it. After insisting multiple times from Yu, Kimizuki reaches the hospital with Yu. The doctor reports that the day was critical, but everything is under control now. Consequently, Yu and Kimizuki feel for each other and confess they are responsible for the poor execution of the evaluation. On the other side, Queen Krull announces that should plan for a fight against the military that has been planning to wipe out vampires. We have to remove greedy people. She indicates Mika. Mika thinks this can be the chance to rescue and live a life like before. The 4th episode ends here. The 5th episode begins when Mika thinks of the rescue as vampires are planning to kill the demon army in northern Japan. The army officers hold a meeting and Hiragi shares that a dubious act has been sensed in the Kanto region from vampires. All of the army officers are paying concentration on the briefing, but Guren Ikanos finds it so boring and enjoys sound sleep. The officer next to Guren wakes him up and requests to take part. Guren responds that he does not feel like listening to the boring stuff as Hiragi people try to be more authoritative all the time. He leaves the room carelessly. As soon as Guren leaves the room, he finds Yu, who is pouncing toward him. Yu fails to kick Guren and falls badly. Yu complains he should be given the cursed gear to kill vampires. Guren responds to him, do not be so desperate. If you are that desperate, I will give you the front line to kill vampires. Yu becomes glad and instantly he receives a kick on his head from Guren. Guren yells at him, do not try to attack your senior next time. Later, Yu reaches out to Shinoa, who already knows the situation. Shinoa congratulates Yu as he is elected to be awarded a demon. Yu is totally surprised at how she knows it all. On the other side, Farid talks to Mika that your aim is going to be fulfilled. Mika stays silent as he has some different purposes. Mika walks away and tries to hug one of the orphans. The lady does not permit the orphan boy to greet Mika. Mika gets disappointed with that. Now it's time for the trainer to announce the result and decides the rank for getting the best demon. Yu receives his result and suddenly Shinoa snatches it from him. Yu starts chasing Shinoa to get the result, whereas Shinoa is making him run hard in the class. The result is seen and everyone gets to know that Yu secures 0 marks. Yu gets frustrated. On the other hand, Kimizuki secures full marks. This enhances the disappointment of Yu. Yu believes that this test is not of great worth to get the best demon. Shinoa tells him you will be a big failure for a team then if you do not make company gear. Meanwhile, Guren enters the classroom. He looks at Yu and Kimizuki who are about to fight. Guren senses that they both are so desperate to get the best gear. Guren then decides to use his sword. As soon as he takes out his sword, everything gets scattered. All of the students are hardly breathing. Guren is surprised that at least Yu and Kimizuki stay somehow normal yet scared. Shinoa stays cool and calm as she is already contracted with the demon. The trainer, Sayuri, tells Guren that Yoichi gets the best of the results. After that, Guren takes the students to the contract ceremony room. The students consist of Yu, Kimizuki, Yoichi, and Shinoa. Guren asks Yoichi if you want to take revenge on his sister, and if you have to take responsibility. Yoichi thinks about how his sister was killed by the vampire. It is all hard for Yoichi to forget that horrible moment. Yu and Kimizuki insist Yoichi not take part in a contract ceremony as you are too innocent to execute. Yoichi disobeys them and decides to get more power to secure the people around him. Finally, they all get to the contract room where the demons are placed. Guren shares that the time you draw the weapon, the contract ceremony begins. If you control yourself during the ceremony, you get a hold of gears, otherwise you end up becoming a man-eating demon or can get killed by the demon. Yu and Kimizuki get close to the demon. At this point, Yu explains how anxiously he has been waiting for this day. From now on, I will take revenge on Mika and the orphans. Yu draws the weapon and the contract ceremony commences. Episode 5 concludes. The 6th episode commences when Yoichi gets back to the time when his sister was killed by the vampire. His sister hides Yoichi under the bed as she senses the vampire is approaching their room. The vampire enters, picks Yoichi's sister in the air, and bites heavily to drink the blood. The vampire gets out of the room then. Yoichi sees the tragedy but stays helpless as he is too weak to do anything. His sister wakes up and Yoichi is dumbfounded. His sister explains, though I am dead, you are going to take my revenge. This is a process that they all are facing during the contract ceremony. It's time for Kimizuki to trust the process. His sister, who suffered from a vampire victim, once told Kimizuki that you only think of your own. You do not care about anything. If you could, I would not have been in this condition today. Kimizuki does not want to listen to all this. He does not want to be considered selfish by his sister. He has been struggling to get the gear, and he is on the verge of getting it. Guren witnesses the process and considers that Kimizuki will get away from this process. Now then, Yu is brought back to the time with Mika and the orphans. Mika and all others are complaining that you ran away at the time when vampires were killing us. You turn out to be a coward for us. Suddenly, Mika turns into a demon and urges that Yu will only get powers if he has the aim of taking revenge. Yu is begging to get the powers and everyone starts chanting, "Yu, why did you run away when we were in trouble?" Yu receives multiple noises from different people. Yu keeps on saying that once I get the powers I will keep everyone safe. Yu finds himself in front of the demon. The demon explains to Yu that I have found some percentage of weakness in your body. Do not trust humans all the time. I am going to give you my powers and you have to use them for revenge. Yu is pleased with that and gets the power. Now is the time when both Kimizuki and Yu get the power of gears. Guren inquires them about their process. All are waiting for Yoichi to get powers. Unlike the other two, Yoichi finds himself slightly weak in front of the demon during the process. Therefore, a demon has possessed the strength of Yoichi. Yoichi suddenly wakes up and Guren realizes Yoichi cannot be awarded the gears. Despite that, Yoichi turns into a man-eating demon since he is possessed during the process. Yoichi aims to attack Yu and Kimizuki. Guren orders them to battle Yoichi as he turns into your enemy. Kimizuki feels confident to fight whereas Yu becomes shaky. Yu considers not to fight as Yoichi is one of his best companions. The fight begins and Yu goes for the defense rather than attack. Kimizuki is playing his part. Yoichi is showing no mercy. During so, Yu keeps on reminding Yoichi that you are our companion and try to get back into a normal human being. Yoichi remembers the scenario again when his sister was killed. His sister kept on saying, "Do not get out or else you will be killed too." Yoichi raises his hand out of the bed and suddenly he turns into a normal human being. Everyone is convinced now Yoichi turns normal now. Guren shares that vampires have a plan to invade Shinjuku and we must get ready for that. On the other side, vampires are flying for their mission and Mika depicts we will attack Shinjuku first. Episode 6 concludes.